welcome to the inaugural episode of Keys to the Market, your new favorite real estate podcast. My name is Eric, and I'm joined with my mom, Kathy, and my brother, Ryan. Together, we make up the Leimkuhler Group, a team of real estate agents specializing in the Orange County real estate market. We're going to introduce ourselves a little bit, talk about our backgrounds, and answer some questions that we get a lot of the time about real estate. So, my mom, you began in real estate about 17 years ago. You kind of started this whole group. I guess you started the family too. So why don't you give us a little bit of background, how you got into that, and then tell us about that.
I'm a starter. Yes, I was a teacher, athletic director, and PE teacher at a local school. And then we moved. We moved from here to England to Pennsylvania and then back here. And when I came back here, I had already given away my job. And a friend of mine who sold my house, the agent who sold my house, was starting her own company. And she said, I think you would be fabulous at this. And if you will do it, I want you to work for me. And so I did. And I guess the rest is kind of history.
She turned out to be right.
It turned out to be right, yeah. I said it to these two, and I think I might have been right too. So, and tell them about yourself, Eric, because you started with me about 5 years ago.
So 17 years ago when she started, I was very young. I was about like 10 years old or so. Yes. And I remember every single weekend going out with my dad to put out and pick up real estate signs for her open houses that she had over the weekend. And I hated everything about it. I promised myself that I would never get into real estate. That was the last job I was ever going to do. There was no way. So I went to college. I got a job. I was sitting behind a desk all day, and I thought, you know what? Maybe that job doesn't sound too bad. I could put up real estate signs. So I quit that job, joined the business with you, and it actually hasn't been as bad as I thought, but I will say that I still think putting out the signs might be my least favorite aspect of the business.
Yeah, we still make him do that by himself.
No. So Ryan, you joined us about a year ago. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I am the latest member of the team. I was a teacher for 14 years at Heritage Oak Private School in Yorba Linda. I was the athletic director there, and I feel like after years and years of my mom saying, you should come over, you'd be great at this.
And I was right.
I made the transition because it was the right time. I had done all I set out to do as an athletic director at Heritage Oak, and this was something that would positively impact my family and give me the opportunity to work with my brother and my mom, which is an amazing opportunity to be in business with your family. So I haven't regretted it a second since I made the switch, and I love being a real estate agent now with you guys. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go into a couple questions for each of us, kind of about the real estate market. Like I was saying, we specialize in Southern California, Orange County specifically, but a lot of these questions kind of go to the general nation at large, kind of the real estate industry at large. But a little bit of a background more about us and kind of things we've seen. So Mom, you said you've been in the business for about 17 years. Yes. In that time, what would you say has been the most significant change that you've seen in the market, in the real estate industry, all of that?
Well, I started in October of 2007, and anybody that can follow me with the trajectory of the housing market would realize that when January of 2008 hit, we hit the worst housing decline ever, I think since the Depression. So I learned when the market was at its worst. So let's say I was in the trenches with short sales, and I mean, I didn't even really learn the real estate, and I was learning how to do short sales and foreclosures, and the market was moving downwards so fast. You were forced to learn. People at that point were either realizing how the market was, learning how to do real estate, or they were literally going back to something else. So when you go through that, each new session of the market was kind of better. Right, so I went to a neutral market, was successful in the neutral market, went from the neutral market to more of a seller's market, and the interest rates going down. I went through COVID, which Eric was with me during that. That was another crazy time when you couldn't even be in a house and everybody had to be in full suits and with hazmat suits and all of it just
those are
to
interesting
go
days.
through a house. And everybody thought the market was going to fall then, and it actually picked up. So I would say I've seen every change in the market, but really it's just educated me. I feel like I went from high school to my bachelor's degree to my master's to my doctorate in 17 years because of the experiences that I've had.
It's about the amount of time.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. So let's talk about, can you tell me about a memorable experience you've had with a client, or a couple memorable experiences, stuff that kind of stands out to you?
I would say that my most memorable experience started probably at the beginning of my career. I thought that I was always going to be, I have, Ryan and Eric are my oldest and youngest, and there are 3 sisters in between. So my husband and I have 5 kids, and I always thought that that was going to be who I would go to. I thought first-time home buyers, I taught them, I coached them, I had them, like I would be great with them. And I sat in an open house, the one that Eric put the signs out, for 6 months, every Saturday and Sunday. I sat in someone else's open house just trying to meet buyers. And the first buyer that I met told me that they had one specific home that they would buy. So that was, I'm a dog on a bone when I want something. I'm pretty competitive. So I was going to find them that house. I remember going to a broker open, seeing the house and calling them in the driveway and saying, I found your house. And that first sale that I had was a $2.6 million house.
Definitely a first-time home buyer.
Yeah.
And that was back in
in 2008.
Yeah, what's that now?
Right in the middle of all of that. And
the
then,
house is now $6 million.
Yeah.
And then my first listing turned out to be somebody that I had met at several open houses. And I owe so much of my career to this woman and her family, because she took a chance on me. She saw something in me that she thought that, she saw how competitive I was. And I wound up selling, they had $7 million worth of real estate in 2 homes next to each other. And I wound up selling both of them. And then I would say that that's what catapulted my career. And something that you often say, Eric, is that those first few people have referred so many people to me. I can almost put lines and show that everybody's come from the people in the beginning. And I think it's a lot of because we built trust from the start, and they've had their friends and their family trust me, and it's been a wonderful experience.
So over 17 years, it's a good amount of time.
Yes.
How have you managed to stay motivated and passionate about the industry? How have you not gotten burnt out by it?
It might be to my advantage that I was never one of those people that was in love with housing. I didn't go to open houses. I didn't follow houses. I wasn't on Zillow all the time. But I've always been super connected to people, kids, parents, and that's what motivates me. You don't realize, no matter what the job is that you do, yes, and I totally understand and realize that I am probably the largest investment somebody makes in their life, buy or sell. But it's all connected to a family or a person or a group of people that I can help, and my expertise can help them. And so it just keeps you motivated because you're engrossed in someone's life. You're really helping them, making a difference. And that, I'm passionate about that. It doesn't matter what it was. I was passionate when I coached kids. I was passionate when I played sports. I was passionate when I raised kids. I'm passionate when I help somebody either buy or sell a house. Yeah. And that keeps me motivated. And now I'm super motivated because I get to see you guys every day.
Well,
so,
you're basically coaching people through one of the most important decisions of their life.
Yes.
So, I mean, you're still a coach, but in a different and even
100%.
bigger arena.
And I have the knowledge to help them, which is a great feeling. So that's what I would say.
That's awesome.
Keeps me motivated.
All right, so we're going to move on to some questions for you, Rye. So what motivated you to get into the real estate business? I know you were saying that you were an athletic director. What pushed you to do this?
Honestly, I think it's you two. Working with my family has been the major motivation to change from teaching, which I've been doing and loved for so many years, into something a little bit different. But it's like you said, it's still a career that's helping families, helping people. And so a lot of those skills that came pretty natural to me by the end of my coaching and teaching career have been very transferable to real estate. And so this has been a great experience of even though I'm not doing what I was doing, I can still use a lot of those things that I learned over the last 14 years as a teacher to connect with people, to be a good listener, to, you know, even be a lifelong learner myself and constantly be taking in new information and helping other people, you know, make some really important decisions.
Ryan has such great compassion. He's so compassionate for people, and I think that people are drawn to that, and they immediately, I've been your mom a long time and I know how trustworthy you are, but I think people get that from the start, and that really helps, I think, in this business.
Well, I appreciate that. I think, honestly, I've always wanted to have a job or a career that was helping other people, because that felt like what you had taught us all growing up. And even as a coach, it was constantly that connection point of like, how can I help this person grow? How can I help this?
It's not just winning.
Yeah, exactly.
Winning helps.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's important to have that goal. So getting the house helps.
I was gonna say winning helps and getting houses too.
We want to win.
Getting low prices as a buyer and high prices as a seller.
But you got to be there through the ups and downs of all of it, and that translates to real estate too. I mean, you, as much as you want to win every single one, you don't always win, but you're there to gather back and to go fight another day and learn the lesson from that one and move on to the next one. And I think all that stuff has been a big part of my comfort level coming from one place to another place. So.
Awesome. Okay, so you've been in about a year now. What would you say has been the most surprising thing you've learned or experienced?
It's just how much the market can change in such a small amount of time, and how all those intricacies can really change your approach to like how you would, what kind of a offer you would put in on a house, or how to position yourself to sell your house. Whether it's a few weeks ago, we could be telling people we should price your house a little bit lower to get more buyers in the door at open houses, and then their bids will end up raising the price of your house. But then there's other times where it makes sense to price it right on the nose so that people know exactly what you are going for. And it just depends on the market, and that market can change within a few days with interest rates and people's minds and just the way that things are going. So I think it's constantly just having your finger on the pulse of everything and just how much that can change. But that's really where our value comes in, is we can see those nuances that as a buyer or a seller, you can't see it unless you constantly are checking it out every single day. So
it's an interesting thing we say is like with buyers or sellers, it's like you only, as a buyer or seller, you only do that once every 5, 10, 15 years. We do it every single day.
Yeah.
We see housing prices every single day. We see how the market's working every single day.
How often do we say to each other, I know that they're saying this, but that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
Here's what we're saying, and then it kind of turns into,
happens.
you see it every day.
And you're coming from a less emotional place of your own, So.
And so what are you looking forward to learning, achieving, growing in the next year and beyond?
There's still so much to learn. I mean, I see what 5 years of experience can bring, and I see what 17 years of experience can bring, and my confidence is strong because I have such a strong foundation, but I'm excited to keep learning and keep going through the process of selling the home, seeing the negotiation, all of that, because I feel like I'm picking up things really quickly in being around true professionals all the time, but I'm constantly feeling like this is such a huge world to be going into, and there's so much to learn constantly that I'm sure even 17 years in, you feel like you're still learning things.
Yes.
And things are still changing all the time, and people are telling
like contracts
you,
and the way we sell.
I didn't know if I even wanted to bring it up, honestly.
But I definitely remember that same, when I first started, I remember hearing her talk and being like, there is absolutely no way I'm ever going to be able to sound like her. I'm never going to be able to. She was throwing out timelines and 17 days this, 21 days that, 30 days here. Oh, page 14 of 17, it's on there. And being like, I have no idea what she's talking about. And now I find myself in meetings like, oh yeah, you look at this, it's right over there. You need that, it's that. Okay, we're good.
You give me a lot of
Well, you'll get there. We'll get there. So, yeah. I think that all makes sense.
Yeah.
And now I think you're going to ask me some questions, right?
Yes, I get to
Turn
to
the
be question asking.
table.
Yeah. How has working with your family kind of influenced you and your approach to real estate?
I definitely think working with
No pressure with us being right next to you.
I would
you all
say
can tell
I would say the
lies.
same thing whether you guys are here or not. I definitely think the biggest thing with working with my family, with both of you guys, is the level of trust there is. I mean, I think working in any business, obviously you're to some degree going to trust your coworkers. You have to, but there's a different level to it when it's your mom and your brother. I mean, you're my mom, you're gonna jump in front of a bus before me, you're gonna do anything for me, and you're my brother. I mean, we might fight from time to time, but you're still gonna always be there for me. And I think you can feel that in business. You can feel that in real estate. You know that we're always gonna have each other's back. You're always gonna be able to get that answer. If anyone else in any other business I was in the world, if I didn't know what to do and it was the middle of the night, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be Googling my head off. I can call you at 11:30 at night and you might be asleep, but you're going to answer my phone call and help me out.
Sure
and
will.
I think that's really the biggest place where it feels like I have the backing, I have the people around me, I have the trust. And I think that also goes over to our clients too. I think the level of trust we have with one another makes our clients realize that they can trust us and that we're there to help them in the same way we're going to be there to help one another.
I think that's so true.
I think that's so true.
You want to ask him the next one?
Ah, you got it.
All right.
I'm more intimidating.
What is the most important piece of advice that you'd give to somebody looking to buy or sell a home? I mean, I can even say you just bought
I
home,
bought my first house.
so you can speak from that perspective, I guess.
I think the biggest thing I would say for people when whether it's your first house, your third house, your 15th house, is getting prepared ahead of time. I think a lot of the time people are afraid to call us, to call a mortgage person, because they think once you call someone, they're gonna start badgering you, and it's you're almost, if you speak it out into the universe that it's gonna happen, the universe is gonna give it to you. And that doesn't always have to be the case. I mean, sometimes it is, but sometimes the universe gives you the answer that you actually want. But I do think that getting ready is never going to hurt you. Like you're saying, I just bought my first house. I was in real estate for 4 years when I bought my first house, and there were parts of the process that I wasn't even ready for. And I think that talking to a mortgage person, getting a pre-approval, knowing how much you can actually pay for a house. I know a lot of the time it's fearful of people that you're gonna have to pull your credit or that you're gonna have to do this, and you can talk to a mortgage person and they can give you a general idea of what you can do. They can help you get your credit better. They can help you get ready with all of that stuff. And we can show you different neighborhoods. The amount of times people say, I really want to live in Villa Park, and we said to them, hey, have you ever looked at North Tustin? It's a similar type of neighborhood. They have similar houses and whatnot. They're custom homes, all of that type of stuff. And people are like, I don't even know what North Tustin is. It's those type of things that we can get people ahead of the time, and it doesn't have to push you into buying a house right now. We can be there to support you at any time. You can talk to us for 5-10 years. We have people that we've helped that have never bought or sold a house, but we're just there to support them.
Referred us a lot.
Yeah, because they trust us. And I think that if you get people that you trust and get ready ahead of time, it's never gonna hurt you.
Also true with selling.
Yes.
I think with selling that oftentimes if you ask me the questions, ask us the questions, because we know what rooms are worth, what maybe is a less expensive way to get what you want. I just think that a lot of that, we have the answers for you, and it's almost like people are afraid to ask the questions because they think that means that they have to sell. And I've helped clients for years, not even waiting for them to sell, just giving them advice on what's the best thing or what's a good price, who's a good vendor, anything we can help you with.
We've had people come in and show us the plans that they're going to do in their kitchen and how they're going to renovate it, or that they're going to do this in their backyard. They're going to add solar to their house, and we can say to them, hey, maybe you don't put all your money into this, put it in there. Your bathroom doesn't look as nice as your front door. Your front door is not gonna raise the value of your house. Your bathroom really is, and you can spend $500 extra
Although the
and
front door is, just so you know, that one of the biggest,
It is.
biggest things that you can do for your house. Maybe your back door, but the front door.
True.
Go ahead, Rai, sorry.
Can you share a challenging situation you faced and how you resolved it?
There's been a couple of challenging situations we've had. I mean, I think in any business there's challenges. I won't go directly into the actual, but I think one of the biggest things that we see that often leads to challenges is if you're hiring someone, if you're really gonna go into it and buy or sell a house, hire someone that you trust and actually trust that person. Some of the biggest challenges we've had is when buyers or sellers that are working with us try to be coy with us. I get trying to be coy when you're walking into an open house and you don't really want that agent to walk around after you and show you everything. You kind of just want to see it and move on. I get that. But if you're truly going to trust someone with buying a house, we've had times when sellers have had a certain price they wanted to sell the house for. They wanted to sell the house for $1 million, so they tell us they need 1.4, and we can't get them that 1.4 because their house isn't worth it, but we could get them 1.2, but they hurt themselves because they're telling us prices that aren't real. They're trying, if you tell me you want to sell your house for $1 million, I'm never going to tell anyone that. I'm going to tell everyone out there that you want 1.6 million because I'm going to do my very best to get you the most you can possibly get. So I think challenges come when people don't tell us all the information and don't let us truly help them in the way that we can.
That's a great response.
Yeah, we're salespeople, but we're not trying to sell our clients.
No.
We're good at negotiating with other people, but we're gonna negotiate on your behalf.
Yeah.
We're not trying to trick you. We're trying to help you.
Yes.
So what trends do you see emerging in the real estate market over the next few years?
So there's been a lot of trends, like you were saying, like trends change over time. You were saying too, the trends almost can change week by week. We've seen things, COVID happened, and during COVID, the interest rates almost plummeted. I mean, the Fed lowered the federal funds rate, which in turn made the mortgage rates go lower. People were getting 2-3% interest rates. So right now, a lot of people have very low interest rates on their house. Right. Interest rates skyrocketed. We went up over 7, even close to 8 sometimes, and it really stalled the market. The people that have the houses don't want to refinance, don't want to sell because you can't even afford your own house at that higher interest rate. Yeah. Eventually, and it's going to happen somewhat soon, is that interest rates are going to come back closer. I don't know when we're really going to see those days of 2 and 3% again. Honestly, I am afraid to see that because it happened because of COVID, so I don't really want that to occur again. But it's going to come closer down to it. It's going to feel more manageable for sellers and buyers. What's going to happen as well is that more buyers are going to enter the market. Buyers are quicker than sellers. In order to sell your house, you have to get it ready. You have to stage it. You have to take photography. There's more of a lead time with that. Yeah. Buyers can see interest rates go down. They can see the houses on the market and they can go buy right now. When there's more buyers on the market and less supply, what's going to happen?
The interest rates
prices are going to go back up again. So I think something that we hear a lot of people thinking that they almost want to wait out the market. It is eventually going to settle. I think we're going to finally reach a neutral market again eventually, but we're going to settle at a higher price than we even are now.
Yes.
And so if you've been saving, if you thought in 2018 when a house you were going to buy was $800,000, you were saving money for that. Now it's $1 million. In 2 years, it's going to be 1.1, 1.2. That money you were saving for that $800,000 down payment is not the same amount of money you need for that $1.2 million down payment. The mortgage prices are all of it's not the same. So I think it's important to push through and keep trying to find that house if that's really what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that money's kind of like flying out of your back pocket a little
sadly.
bit. You're trying to put it back in to save more.
Yeah.
So kind of to finish up, we're all going to answer questions together. This is just kind of what are some of the most frequently asked questions you guys hear? What are things people ask you a lot? What are your answers to those questions?
When are prices going to go down is the number one question, and the truth is they're not. The only thing that's going down in prices are sellers that are overpricing their homes. Sellers that think that the market is still climbing in a crazy manner. And the only homes that are selling kind of in a crazier manner are totally done homes. So that's changed a little, but a lot of buyers are waiting for that to happen, and I don't think that that's going to be. What other questions do you guys get a lot of?
I think a lot of the time, I think it's all, a lot of the questions we hear are about timing the market, more or less. Right. Whether it's when is prices going to fall, when are prices going to rise, when should I sell, blah, blah, blah. And I think truly the answer to that is you can't. You can't time the real estate market. You can't time the stock market. You can't time any market truly. Should you buy at the time when the house is? Should you buy in January of 2008 when we're about to fall off a cliff?
Right.
No. And I promise you that if we see that happening, like you're saying, we have a pulse on the market, we're gonna tell you hey, maybe hold on for a second. Right. There's signs coming up that something bad might be happening. But beyond that, you can't time the market. And truly, you shouldn't want to. If you're doing it as an investment, we can talk to you in terms of investments. Yeah. But the vast majority of people that we help are buying the house for their families. They're buying the house to have a dog in their backyard. They're buying the house for their granddaughters to swim in their pool. They're buying the house for their family to have gatherings at the kitchen table. Buy that. Buy the pool. Buy the kitchen table. Buy the house that you want to live in. Buy the neighborhood. Don't buy it for it to be a good investment. I mean, there's a saying I've always heard is buy the house, date the rate. But you can always refinance. You can always, markets, I can show you a chart. Markets always come back.
Years.
Every time. If you look at any 10-year increment, even if it goes down in between, the prices will come back. It's an investment. It will come back. But don't buy it for that reason. Real estate's a good investment anytime.
Yes. One of the other big questions that we're getting now is about insurance. And because you hear fire, CAL FIRE, the fire insurance, all the companies are leaving. And we actually, real estate agents, because they have to deal with all of these issues, have the answers. And we do have the people that will help. Like we just did that for somebody. They couldn't get insurance and we helped them. There's ways around all of it. It's just the questions that people hear what they hear in the news, and we know the day-to-day workings of all of it. And I think that helps us guide people in the right direction.
Any questions you have?
I mean, it's very similar. Everybody's always asking about when the interest rates are going to fall. And it seems like it's people that are interested in buying or selling, or just people that are just, no pun intended. Just it's the thing that everyone wants to talk about as the reason things are happening or not happening. So I think they're kind of handcuffed to the idea of, I can only move once this number gets hit. And it's like what you guys said, that number changes the situation as far as the demand goes. So then all of a sudden you're paying higher prices for the houses, and that money you thought you were saving, you ended up losing more money because even though the rate changed, the house went up in price. So timing the market, like you said, is just kind of a futile experience. And I mean, I think those are basically the questions we get the most.
I think our reason for starting it today was kind of I know a lot of people out there who are going to listen to this know us already, but it just kind of introduce ourselves and kind of give you some kind of sense of why we do what we do and what's important to us. And I think that once you follow us, you'll get more information from us, and you're going to explain to people how to do that, because I don't know all that part.
If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below, or you can email us at info@leimkuhlergroup.com. Leimkuhler is a weird last name. It's spelled Leimkuhler. It'll also be written on all of our stuff. But we're gonna, like she said, we're gonna continue this podcast, try to educate you guys on things we're seeing. Like you're saying, things change on a weekly basis, kind of what we're seeing in the market and kind of how we can help answer any of those questions. So please, if you enjoyed this, subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a review, follow us on social media, and we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Thanks guys.